Adam!
Smiley! We are back for another episode. We've got, as folks can see, we're out on in the customer work stands where we give estimates if anybody needs their bike worked on. Bring it by, we'll throw it up in the stand, we'll see what's going on with it. We'll get you checked in, and Ryan will take care of it in the back for you. But since I was here alone today, we did get a shipment of Jamis bikes in. So Jamis is our new #1 brand. We won't be carrying trucks in store any longer. We will kind of sort out how we're going to handle warranties and stuff for our existing truck customers. We'll work with you to make sure you get taken care of if anything does come up. We have had, we just had a customer who had a Fuel X8 that he bought last year's frame cracked. Some other stuff that we've seen come up pretty commonly. We're happy to help customers with that stuff. But what you will see in store now is Jamis. So truck has not sent us a bike since August of last year. Customers have ordered bikes and had them shipped here, which is awesome, and we'll continue to look after those customers. But we have not ordered any bikes for the shop from truck since August of 2022. So Jamis, we slowly started bringing them in. We brought in the Fault line earlier. We've got really cool cruiser bike from Jamis, and then some of their cheaper $599 entry-level hardtails with like a 3x8 on them, disc brakes. We brought those in, checked them out. We sold through the Fault lines. I rode one up at the Eureka Mountain Bike Park here in the parking lot. The bike rode really well, so it's kind of like almost, by today's standards, a cross-country, full suspension mountain bike. So 130 mil of travel, kind of East Coast or old school geometry. So it's, 75-degree head tube angle, or a 67.5-degree head tube angle, a little bit slacker seat tube. But the bike just wants to charge forward. So really nice. I was super impressed with it. The nice thing about the Jamis Fault line, the A2, it's $19.99. So we've sold out of them. I've got more on the way. They're going to be here Monday. But the Fault line at $19.99 has a dropper seat post, tubeless tires, Vittorias, which are really nice, and then full Shimano RockShox build. So the cassette is not some Sunrace junk. They don't slap a micro shifter under here. They don't do like Trek does with the Marlin 5 and put radius brakes on, which I'm not even sure that's a company. So it's really nice to see a company that does that. Jamis is a small company out of Florida. A gentleman who started the company back in the 1920s when he immigrated to the U.S. His daughter still runs the company today. She's very hands-on. So we like that. That's what we loved about Marin, was a very kind of small, hands-on company. And with Jamis, we're seeing that again. So unlike with Trek, when we did have issues, when we did need solutions to problems, companies like Jamis, these smaller companies, we can actually go to them and find solutions, opposed to these big corporate entities just like to kind of eat up the little guy and spit you out. So we were warned about that before we even signed with a big corporation, especially one that has a reputation for going after independent bike dealers. So this is nothing surprising for us, but the pandemic came along, we kind of got sucked into their ecosystem and world. We're glad to kind of be stepping back out of that and getting a cool company like Jamis in. So we've got about 15 bikes in from them this week, including some hardtails, very entry-level stuff, a lot of stuff for the kids, so 26-inch bikes. This right here is the High Point. So really cool, and this was a big hole that was in our lineup for a long time, was having a hardtail, 29-inch hardtail with tubeless ready rims and an air fork. This bike comes in at $1249 right now. A $1249 bike from Truck that we were offering still had a cool fork on it. So this has got routing for a dropper post. It does not have a dropper on it. But $1249, we'll take it. We'll take having the tubeless ready rims. We'll take having the air fork, and we'll sacrifice not getting the cheap droppers that companies throw on sub $1,500 bikes. So you can always add it when you want. What have you thought about I forgot you were here. What did you think about all the Jamis bikes so far?
Well, first I noticed the price tag and how drastically different it was from these other brands that were carrying, like Trek, where it's like you go online and you see, I can get so much better bike for $800, versus what they got listed for. And then you see an example of that right here where there's actual good value on it and it's a good price.
It's a bike that can actually survive the trails. At $1,249, I believe we sold like a Roscoe 6 to one of your buddies. Luckily, I had the conversation with him before he bought the bike. I'm like, we always ask our customers, where are you going to ride this bike? You know, are you going to, you know, he said he's going to be at Eureka Mountain Bike Park. I said, well, this got a cool fork. I know it's a $1,300 bike. It's got a cool fork. You're going to destroy it immediately. Okay. He goes to the bike park one day, comes back, he's like, yeah, my fork froze up. I'm like, yeah, fork's not made for jumping. Coil forks aren't made for jumping. So yeah, and I had already prefaced him with, hey, you're going to have to upgrade to an air fork. So he wasn't upset. But that was a $1,200 bike. He immediately had to put another $400 into for an air fork. So getting on at something like the High Point, and it was important for me to get this one in store, so we do have that $1,200 bike that you could go and ride trails in St. Louis 2-3 times a week, and you're not going to destroy this thing. Plenty of room to upgrade this. It's also got a tapered head tube. So if you do want to upgrade, you can get a nicer air fork. It's got a 12-speed Dior drivetrain on it. It is, you know, it's a nice bike. So everything you need on it. And then everything else we got, kind of entry-level stuff. The fault line's going to be showing up at the end of the week. Oh, and then the Hardline as well. So Jamis does have a 27.5 160 mil travel EVO suspension bike that is going to be here on demo. So it'll be a size medium. I know it's not going to fit everybody, but if anybody, same deal as we did with the fault line. We'll have a large fault line here on demo as well. So if you want to come and test out, like, oh, I've never heard of Jamis. You know, I've heard of Jamis maybe, but no one's heard of the Jamis. We've got the Jamis bikes here. You can take one, test ride it up there. We had a customer on Friday that bought the last fault line that we had in stock. We've got a medium Fuel X5. We're blowing it out. I've had this bike for, we got it in February of 2022. We got 2 others in that size. We've only sold 2 in the last year. But it's because it's $26.99. Yeah. It's hard to sell an entry level, and it's got X Fusion on the rear, the Fuel X5. It's 140 mil of travel. Customer took them both up to the bike park, compared them back to back, and he immediately made the decision on the fault line. So we want to give customers a continued opportunity to do that. So by taking the fault line up to the bike park or doing the hard line, then customers can experience what those bikes are about. So we are in a location that has a Mexican restaurant next door, which is great sometimes, not great when we're trying to record always, but we do get plenty of kids. Linda gets plenty of friends that come see her, which is always exciting. But did you ride the Hardline while I was here, or the fault line?
I've not.
No.
I haven't ridden anything, but that new demo, it's a medium, that's my size.
Yes.
So.
Yep, it'll be there. Like I said, people can come by any time. That bike will be set up to go right up at the park. So please do that, experience what. They also have a 29-inch version, the Portal, that uses their EVO suspension. You guys probably aren't familiar with EVO. You're probably not familiar with Jamis at all. Look up a YouTube video on EVO. They've got a really good one. I think on our Facebook page we posted it. But people can look that up and see why the EVO is so exciting. And then they can come down to the shed and actually try it out. So, and then we'll put one on order for you. We're still, I mean, coming out of COVID, bike sales are kind of slow. So we're keeping limited inventory in store. We just kind of have enough here to give everybody an idea of what different kind of build levels are on the different models, you know, and then be able to size everybody. And typically expect that if you're looking to get like a Hardline or a Porter or one of the higher end bikes, that we're going to size you, we're going to fit you up here, then we're going to special order that bike for you. I really don't want, you know, somebody's $4,000 bike sitting on our floor to be scratched up and to be ridden around. I think if you're buying that nicer level of bike, we want to special order that for you. We want to build it with you in mind. So, you know, come in, test ride some stuff, figure out what you want, let us order it. Takes about a week for things to show up, you know, and get them built. Then we can have you ready to go and ready to ride. So we have some persistent customers. This is the thing, the Mountain Bike Shed. We've got so much cool stuff in here. There's Linda, cool dudes that work here. Smiley's always here, I'm here. We've got Garmin watches, we've got Casios, we got golf, we got disc golf, we got mountain bikes, kids bikes, hybrid bikes. We just sold a couple one wheels. So we got a lot. People they're trying to bang down these doors every day we're here. It's absolutely
Quite literally
amazing.
right now, too.
Yeah. So it's fun. Are you excited about the new direction of the shop, getting with JMS? And
I like it.
do any of your buddies ride any JMS bikes? Anybody?
No,
you know?
I mean, it's a pretty small company, so
Yeah.
I don't really know much people who ride it. But that's the thing. It's really cool to actually start to ride with a newer company that actually like cares for the customers, cares for the bike shops it's working with, versus some corporation that just tries to get money out of everyone.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I was going to build a bike while we were doing this. The whole plan was for the podcast tonight. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna build a bike while we go through this. But yeah, I ended up talking, not letting you talk at all, which is hilarious.
Yep.
But how's your Garmin watch been going, by the way?
Garmin watch has been going great. I love this thing, man. I use it every day. I always have this thing on because it pretty much predicts my future. I mean, it's telling me if I need to chill out for a bit, if I need to get on up and do something, you know. Like I really like. It's kind of like my personal trainer in a way. You know?
Do you input like your hydration and stuff in there? Because that's the only thing it doesn't measure on its own.
I really have to because I'm supposed to be drinking a lot of water. But like
you don't do it.
It's like I don't like doing that. I don't like always like having to input water, input calories or whatever. I kind of just want to eat and get done with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just made a post today that by using the Garmin watch helped me realize my heart rate was always high and that I had some issues I needed to take care of.
Yeah.
So, and it's been a game changer for me. I mean, being able to just wear the watch, see that I was having certain issues, then being able to print that out. Like you can go to the Garmin Connect app and you can put all your results in there and then print it out. It's funny how people just keep knocking as if like, did they think we were going to come to the door?
I don't know.
It's all right.
I think they kind of got what I was saying.
But with the Garmin Connect app, I was able to create a PDF of my results, my blood pressure results, my heart rate results. Do you think they got what you were saying, you think?
I don't really think so.
You're fine. Don't worry about them. But I was able to do that in a PDF form, take it into my neurologist, and then he was able to give me some medications to help me address my issues. And then since then, I've been on those for a month. I mean, my energy levels, my clarity, my irritability levels, all those things have been great. Because if I wasn't on my heart medication right now, I had really high blood pressure, and these people were banging on the door while we were trying to record a podcast for the tens of viewers that watch every month, then I might be upset, but now I'm not.
Well, I'd advise parents to not let your kids bang on the door as they're watching them in front of you. So, that's just a little pro tip, and they're dragging their head on the window. So, we have to clean that, guys. Come on. Like, this stuff doesn't auto-clean itself. We got to clean it at the end of the day. Get your kids off our windows.
All right. Well, how far into the podcast are we? Do we know? We're only like 15 minutes in.
Not too bad.
Yeah. So we can be us a little bit longer. But yeah, the Garmin stuff's been well. We've seen a lot of it selling too. So I think, especially most everybody who watches this, you're young. Like not a lot of guys your age are really watching the podcast.
Yeah.
Most people watching, most of our social media audience are, men and women between 30 and 55 years old. So we're the ones, like, things are starting to, like, even with me, like, I would not have thought I was going to have heart issues coming up or, things I needed to monitor that way until I just happened to put the watch on because I thought it was cool. And then, like, realized, like, oh, shit,
it tells
there's an issue here, And I think that could be the case with a lot of us, especially around this age group because, we naturally start getting a little bit slower as we get older.
Yeah.
And to kind of know what's going on with your body and being able to be aware of that can really help you kind of cut some things off in the path and really improve your ability to function just in your day-to-day life. Because I haven't, one of my issues is just anytime my heart rate gets up, I get really sick and I'll be sick for a couple days. But so I have not, anybody who knows, you guys have probably seen on social media every time I've tried to ride a mountain bike, I've taken a picture and put it on social media. So it's all of about 5-6 times since my head injury because anytime I do, I just get really sick and then I get to pay the price for a week. So it's hard for me to be able to do that. So I haven't even been able to use the Garmin yet to track rides and see all that fun stuff's going. So especially for all of our customers, obviously you guys are still doing those things. So having that ability to track all your exercise metrics, I'm sure is awesome. But like I said, even without that or not utilizing that aspect and that feature of it, it's really paid dividends for me. So.
Yep.
I don't know. That's it. And we got this golf thing set up. People, dude, no one. I didn't have anybody to do a podcast with last week. Ryan has his schedule's changed for welding, so he's here different days. He's no longer here on Wednesdays. We may change the day we record. And then you were on vacation, and then I forgot to ask Strassi to come up. So I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to either do no podcast or just do it by myself. So I just embarrassed myself on the freaking golf simulator. He embarrassed
himself just for our viewers.
Just for content,
Just
dude.
for content.
Just to bore people to death.
Yeah.
It was fun for me. It amazes me. Like, so we started doing this podcast. I had originally pitched this podcast because the whole reason we opened the shop was to get a bike park done to kind of spur trails in the area. So one of the things, once we were in that part, I told everybody we need to get a podcast. So back like before the Eureka Mountain Bike Park, before we did the Gore Gravity stuff, I bought a ton of podcasting equipment, but I could never get people to agree on time, so I wouldn't do it. And eventually the shop was so slow here that we just started doing the podcast here. And I really just wanted this to be like set up cameras in the shop, and then it would just like all day long, people could watch what was happening in the shop. Yep. So it was pretty cringy at the beginning, but I am really impressed with myself. Although it was awkward, when you're shooting golf pro videos or like shooting golf, never set the camera up directly in front of you. For one, I was wearing a mountain bike jersey, so like it just like shows how like chubby you are, you know? So like my belly was there. And then when you're like bent over, like looking at a camera, it's so brutal, dude.
That's funny.
It was so bad. But, again, the only people watching are people who, I don't want to say they have a belly too, but they won't judge me for having a belly. Or I don't care, actually. But no, it amazes me so we've been doing the podcast for 2 years, and just in that amount of time, kind of just how much more comfortable I am doing like the order openings and stuff that we do, or, recording a podcast by myself, knowing, because I knew I'm not a good golfer. It does look fun. I did play a little bit when I was younger, so I'm trying to like reteach myself how to do things. And when I watched it on video, I was like, ooh, gosh, I was like so stiff and like saw all kinds of problems. But yeah, I mean, just the fact I wouldn't have imagined seeing myself do that 2 years ago. So it's fun. And, come to find out, a lot of people watch social media, especially city governments and big corporations,
Yeah,
and
right?
then they threaten you with what you do on social media, which is really fun.
Crazy. Yeah. Eyes over you all the time.
It's very weird.
It's really weird.
It's strange to have like adults, like, this is entertainment, so I say a lot, I'm just entertaining folks. We're on the YouTube, so it's weird how I never would have imagined when like Facebook was becoming a thing or YouTube or any of this, that like adults and governments and huge corporations would all just be like hate watching all my stuff.
Oh yeah.
Because that's what happens. Like half the people watching the YouTube channel are hate watching right now.
Oh yeah.
Half of them actually like the shop and come in and we get to talk about stuff, and that's why we keep doing it, what makes us fun. But the other half of everybody is hate watching. Oh, yeah. So crazy. Grown adults.
Grown adults.
And here I am, 35-year-old entrepreneur. Just got into the game because I wanted to build a bike park for the kids. And here we are, bike park for the kids built. So we'll see where the cards lie past that. But it's a dangerous road to mess with mountain bikers because we only care about one thing. Leave me alone in the woods and I'm happy.
Right?
So be careful out there, everybody.
Yeah.
We're out having fun.
Yep.
That's it. You can end her.
All right. Bye-bye, podcast.